Hey everybody, this is Mel, the credit coach lady, Mel, the credit queen of the North and the South. And I'm dealing with two different cameras tonight, so forgive me when I'm looking at this camera and looking at this camera. It's good to see y'all tonight. I don't know who's all going to be in here this evening, but if I can't see you, welcome to the credit show with the credit queen, Mel. That is my name, Melody Tate. I am a board certified credit specialist. I deal with all kind of issues, and I've been in the game for about 10 years. So tonight we're going to talk about bankruptcy, okay? People have been asking, and it was a special request for this show by the owner of Soul TV, which is Bobby Whitaker. So shout out to he and his lovely wife, Mashiba Whitaker. We're going to talk about bankruptcy. It's something that it seems like our people, our race of people is scared to do. And yes, bankruptcy can be a good thing. And it could be a bad thing. It depends on what the situation is. Hi, how you doing, Trisha? It depends on your situation. Sometimes, yeah, I'll say file for bankruptcy. Sometimes I'll say no, don't file for bankruptcy. It really depends on the situation. And one thing you don't want to do, you do not want to prematurely file for bankruptcy. I'm going to get into that. And then you don't want to keep on going and beating a dead horse to death and not file for bankruptcy, okay? So let's get into tonight's lesson. If this is y'all first time, welcome. I am Mel, the credit queen of the North and the South. And yes, we crack up laughing in here. We act crazy because this is a very sensitive matter. Anytime you're talking about credit is a very sensitive matter. And people just, it's not exciting. I'll just put it that way. In some cases, it can be kind of boring. So hold on, hang in there. I'm going to get some more people a chance to get in here, see what's going on tonight. Y'all come on in and we're going to talk a little bit about bankruptcy. When you're coming in, tell me where you're coming in from, okay? Let me know. And at the last minute, of course, my computer decided it wanted to do an update. So I'm a couple of minutes late. Everything got wiped out. I got to start all over, shoot everything back up on my computer. But I can talk about this while things are coming. If you're coming on, hang in there, Trisha. If you need some help, credit help, this is the show for you, okay? While I'm talking about it, while I'm getting ready to boot everything up, one thing I've noticed about credit, people seem to be ashamed to talk about credit. There's nothing to be ashamed about. This is a serious situation, and unfortunately, stuff happens, from time to time. Different things happen. So, sometimes somebody dies. Sometimes maybe you got ill like I did. I got terribly ill. I just had lost so much time doing what I had to do. I got terribly ill. So there's a lot of things that we're dealing with. But I want to talk about bankruptcy tonight. So I'm not going to be long because my system is acting really crazy. It is really getting on my nerves, all right? So we're going to get started. All right, hey, whoever else is in here, Alethea. Oh, that's pretty. That's a pretty name. I hope I said it right. All right, let's get jumping. All right, bankruptcy class series. I'm going to do this in two. I'm going to do it in two breakdowns. You can watch it over and over. You can DM me. You can do whatever you need to do to ask me. I'm free, open to questions, okay? If you want to go deeper, we can go deeper at another time. One-on-one, if that's what you want to do. All right. Bankruptcy or breakthrough. And this is what I was talking about. Do you need to file for bankruptcy or do you not need to file for bankruptcy? And I said earlier, there's a fear amongst our race of people about filing for bankruptcy. But you know that big corporations file Chapter 13 all the time. And then they turn around, start another business or had another business in the works. And it just kind of worked their way back into the cycle all over again. So again, there's nothing like a big cuss word or no to file for bankruptcy. But you better do it right. Only if you need it. Let's go. All right. Bankruptcy or breakthrough. When to file, when to fight, and when to rebuild. Okay. When to file, when to fight, and when to rebuild. So in plain language, let me break it down. We're not going to talk about Chapter 11. That's what I was trying to say. Companies file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy all the time. Tonight, we're just going to talk about consumer bankruptcy. That's Chapter 7. And Chapter 13, and I'm going to do my best to break it down in plain English, okay? Like I said, I got two different cameras running tonight, so forgive me if I'm not directly looking in the camera at you, all right? So again, good evening. Welcome everybody again to the free class. We're on here every week on Soul TV, on Roku TV, on my personal Facebook page, YouTube, and TikTok, and sometimes Instagram, okay? We're starting this very important conversation about bankruptcy. Again, I don't want y'all to panic when you hear that word bankruptcy. It's not that. I know that word can feel super heavy. I know some people hear the word bankruptcy and they think immediate failure. That is not the case, okay? Some people think I'll never be able to buy a house. That's a lie, all right? Some people say I'll never be, able to rebuild my credit. My life is over. That's a lie, okay? Tonight's show, we're going to slow down and we are going to learn. The class, again, this series is bankruptcy or breakthrough. When to file, when to fight, and when to rebuild. Now, class 1, part 1. Understanding. I want to be very clear from the beginning. This class is not legal advice. I'm not an attorney, and I'm not here to tell anybody to file for bankruptcy, okay? I'm here to educate you and to educate my people because that's where my passion is. Anybody can learn, but I just have a passion for our people. Is that all right? All right. Okay, so what I'm here to do is educate you. A lot of people are drowning financially because nobody ever explained their options. Some people are trying to fix with credit repair and may actually need legal help. And some people are trying to fix with legal help, like by filing for bankruptcy, and may actually just need to fix their credit, okay? You may just need a payoff plan, and some people may just need dispute letters, okay? But you may need a debt settlement strategy. You may not just need to file for bankruptcy. And let me add this too. When I say debt settlement strategy, not so much consolidating your debts with a consolidating debt company. That can mess you up more than it can help you. That's a whole nother class. I've talked about that before. So be careful with that, okay? I'm not here to glorify bankruptcy, but what's going to happen is by the time you get done with this class, you're going to at least understand chapter 7 and chapter 13 bankruptcies, okay? Because wisdom is knowing which tool is going to actually fit your situation, okay? Now, again, some people need, dispute letter, payoff plan, whatever the case may be. But we're going to talk about the difference, all right? So, again, I'm going to say this clearly. This is my disclaimer. I don't give legal advice. This is for education purposes only, okay? Every person's situation is totally different. So hold on to that. If you're thinking about filing for bankruptcy, then you should speak to a qualified bankruptcy attorney, legal aid office, or an approved credit counseling agency. Again, be careful because you may not need bankruptcy, okay? Do not file bankruptcy because somebody on social media told you to. I'm going to be nice in my wording tonight. Not everybody, but everybody that's on TikTok and YouTube, y'all, a lot of it is regurgitated information that they learned from other people on TikTok and YouTube. No shade to nobody, because there's some people out there that's, banging. Like my girl, Shonda Martin. Shonda been in the game for years. I've been in the game for 10, but Shonda is killing the game, and I have no problem giving her a shout out. But be careful who you're listening to on social media. I'm going to give you the truth, and I'm going to back it up. I can back up the truth of what I teach you, okay? So be careful of that. Do not avoid bankruptcy, though, because somebody made you feel ashamed. Again, there's nothing to be ashamed about. Get educated. That's what we need to do. Get your numbers, okay? We talk about credit score. You do need to know your credit score, but that's not the whole picture. Remember, I taught about that. Go back to the old lessons on here, and that's on my page. Get that snapshot. See where you are. It's more than just a credit score. You have to set your stuff up strategically, your credit profile strategically, so you can win, okay? And get legal guidance if you need it. But tonight is learning how to think before you panic, because this is serious. Credit is serious. But I try to make it lighthearted so that you can get the information and do what you got to do, all right? Now, why does this conversation matter? Let's start here. A lot of people in our communities were taught to survive debt, okay? We were taught to survive debt. Yes, we were. Hide debt. We were taught to hide debt. We were taught to work around debt, rob Peter to pay Paul, or rob Paul to pay Peter, or whoever words and names you want to put in there. Or just keep paying whatever we could. But that's not how money works. That's not how finances work, good finances. And that's not how a good steward works over their finances, nor how good credit works. But many people were never taught the legal options. And again, many people are embarrassed to talk about debt. I get it all the time. They're oh my God, they're more embarrassed to talk about credit. Okay. People are scared of bankruptcy. Some people think bankruptcy again means failure. They think you're going to lose everything. Some people think they will never be able again to buy a house, get a car, rent a decent place, or rebuild credit again. That's a lie. But the truth is bankruptcy is part of the legal system. It exists because financial hardship is real. People lose jobs. I told y'all, people go through divorce. People get sick. God knows I was sick unto death for over 2 years. It's a miracle I'm still here, okay? Things happen. People have medical emergencies, just like I said. And people just straight up get sued, okay? That's just life. That's just how things roll sometimes. You get sued. We keep it moving. People have repossessions. There's another thing that people come to me about sometimes. The garnishments. So you can stop those garnishments. Maybe I'll do a show on garnishments one day. Sometimes you can't stop them. People get buried in credit card debt. People go through business failure. And sometimes people reach a point where they can't realistically dig out without legal help. But here's the other side of all of it. Bankruptcy, I'm going to keep it real with y'all, is not for everybody. Some people have damaged credit, but they don't have enough debt to justify the credit. I've had people come to me with maybe just $5,000 worth of debt. Well, unless you just can't pull yourself out, or there's a way we can't work around the system, repairing and doing, fixing your credit, then I'm telling you, you really don't need to file for bankruptcy. So you got to know, you got to have enough debt to justify it, because it's going to hurt you. Bankruptcy stays on your credit report for about 7 years. And even after that, it could stay on the public access of your reports, like places like LexisNexis, for like 10 years. Okay. But I'm gonna give you the bright side of both. All right. All right. Some people are not being garnished. Some people are not facing foreclosure. Some people are not facing repossession. Some people pay down the debt in 12 to 24 months. Some people can rebuild, listen to me, without filing. You can. Okay. That's why I call this class called Bankruptcy or Breakthrough. Okay. The question is not if bankruptcy is good or bad. The question is, do I need a legal reset, or do I need a credit rebuild plan? All right, part 2. So what bankruptcy really is, let's get into the nitty gritty of it, okay? Part 2, this is what bankruptcy really is. Let me give you the definition. Bankruptcy is the legal process that allows people or businesses who cannot pay their debts to ask the court for relief. Again, tonight we're talking about filing for chapter 7 and chapter 13. This first class, I'm gonna break it down to you what it is, okay? It can stop or pause many collection actions. It can stop or pause many lawsuits. It can stop or delay some repossessions and foreclosures. It can discharge certain debts. It can create a repayment plan, and that's usually chapter 13. It can get breathing room. You'll finally be able to get your head up above water in certain instances. You can start over financially. And bankruptcy, but this is the big thing I want you to know. Bankruptcy does not erase everything. A bankruptcy does not solve every single financial problem. I'll say that again. A bankruptcy does not fix every single financial problem. Some debts they just might not go away, okay? And some assets may need to be protected by exemptions. Some people may qualify for chapter 7. And some people may be better suited for chapter 13, but not everybody needs bankruptcy. Bankruptcy, look at it like this. Bankruptcy is a tool, and I gotta be very intricate with this. I'm gonna repeat some things. I have to, because you have to get this in your heart and your mindset on what bankruptcy really is. So if you decide to do it, you'll know what you're dealing with, okay? And then if you are on the fence about making a decision whether you should file or not, you'll find that out too, okay? It's a tool, but it's not the only tool, and that's what I'm talking about. So, and the wrong tool can cause unnecessary damage. Again, if you file for bankruptcy and you don't need it, honey, you're gonna mess yourself up. But if you file and you need it, it's gonna be the right tool for you, okay? All right. If you need, like example, if you need a screwdriver, you ain't gonna pick up a hammer. If you do, I'll be praying for you. Don't need to pick up a hammer if you need a screwdriver. If you need a wrench, don't pick up a screwdriver. You see what I'm saying? With your finances, with credit, if you're going to do bankruptcy or not, you got to choose if bankruptcy is the right tool or if credit repair is the right tool, okay? You need legal protection You need to decide that. Do not just rely on a dispute letter if you're going to do the credit repair, all right? If you need a payment plan, do not assume Chapter 7 is the answer. I'll repeat that again. If you need a payment plan, do not assume that Chapter 7 is the answer. And if your debt, listen to me carefully, is manageable, do not rush into bankruptcy because you, again, saw one video online. You got to get the facts, all right? Going into part 3, bankruptcy is not a shame word, all right? I want to take a minute here because it's important. I got to deal with the emotional part of this, and I'm getting to the nitty-gritty. Hang in there, all right? Bankruptcy is not moral failure. Bankruptcy doesn't mean you're lazy, and bankruptcy does not mean you're irresponsible, all right? Bankruptcy does not mean that God is mad at you. God does not care about that to a certain extent. There's scriptures in the Bible on that, but we ain't going to talk about that tonight, okay? Bankruptcy does not, again, mean your life is over. Bankruptcy, again, is a legal option. Not that that means that everybody should do it, all right? Sometimes people stay trapped in the game, in the cycle of bad credit, all right? They keep paying collection accounts that are not even helping their credit. I said that before. Stop paying these collection accounts, people. Stop it. It's a method of madness to go about it, because even if you pay it, it does not come 9 times out of 10. It's not going to come off to your credit report. In order to get that score boost, you got to get it removed from your credit report, a collection account. I got to pause and talk about this. If you are insisting on getting a collection removed, first of all, the Fair Credit Reporting Act says that it's got to be 100% timely, 100% verifiable, and 100% accurate to show that it's yours. That means the collection agency literally has to show your signature on the dotted line that you signed the day that you actually got that bill, or you took that account, whether it was a medical account or whether it was a credit card account. They got to show you John or Jane Hancock. That's one thing. If they can't produce that, then you don't have to admit ever the debt is yours. I just told you, it's not a matter of ethics. It's a matter of how it's reporting. Even if it's 1 penny off, the law says it's not yours. Are you understanding? So we taking a pause to talk about collection. So if you just insist on paying collections, then you need to get a letter from the collection agency. Whatever you do, because they record every phone call, and they are scrupulous people, agents, and they are liars. And I will say that to their faces, because the name of the game with collection agencies is get that money, get that bag. They don't care how they do it. They don't care if you're on disability, you broke your leg, and you can't walk. They don't care. They want the bag. So what you do when these collection companies call you, first of all, you never admit to debt because they're recording it. Because if it ain't reporting accurately, 100% timely or verifiable, the law says it ain't supposed to be connected to you no ways. So you don't admit to something you don't have 100% proof that is really yours, okay? So, but if you just say, Lord, I'm just going to pay it, still don't admit to the debt, tell them to send you a letter, okay? Tell them to send you a written letter with your name on there to count every single thing that you need on there. Tell them to send it to you, and let the letter state that once Jane Doe pays this debt, we will remove it from all 3 credit reporting agencies, and we will not put them back on there again. Get that letter, get it in writing, because they will tell you, oh yeah, we'll send you a letter. Oh yeah, Miss Jones, we got you. They're lying. There's anything to get that money from you, or anything to get an agreement for you to admit it on the recording that the debt is yours and that you're going to pay it. So remember that, all right? Hold on to that. Tell everybody, all right? All right, going back to what I was saying. Sometimes we keep using one credit card to pay another. We keep borrowing from payday loans. Oh my God, that's one of the biggest traps. Stay away from the payday loans. I'm still talking about Chapter 7 and Chapter 13, filing for bankruptcy, whether you should or not. All right, keep overdrafting accounts. All right, we got to get some type of discipline, people. Some type of discipline. You need help with that? I can help you with that too. Okay, I have a lot of free resources that's on my website. All right, keep overdrafting accounts. Keep getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper in the hole. And nobody ever says, look, honey, you may need to sit down with the bankruptcy attorney and find out your options. Okay. Again, I'm not telling you to file. I'm telling you to learn, because shame is gonna keep you in the hole. Okay, shame will keep you silent. Education is going to give you options. All right. All right. Let's go. Now, here's the two main types of that the consumers hear about. All right. This is the nitty gritty. So share this with somebody. Please like and share. All right. When people hear the word bankruptcy, they often assume one thing. All right. But for most consumers, the two most common options are Chapter 7 and Chapter 13. All right. They are both bankruptcy, but they work differently. So I'm going to break it down for you. And the simple way to think about them is this. Chapter 7 focuses on eliminating eligible debt and giving a fresh start. All right. Chapter 13 focuses on creating a court-approved repayment plan that helps you catch up over time. Chapter 7 is usually faster. Chapter 13 lasts a little bit longer than Chapter 7, okay? Chapter 7 is often used by people with mostly unsecured debt and limited ability to repay. Let me give you an example. Especially for the limited ability to pay. Like I said, things happen. Maybe somebody's spouse died, and that cut the income in half. Could have cut it by a third for all I know, okay? That's income loss. So you don't really have the ability to pay, and you may already have $40,000 in debt. That's a good reason to file for bankruptcy. But again, I'm not an attorney, okay? All right? So Chapter 7, again, is often used by people with mostly unsecured debt and limited ability to pay. Chapter 13 is often used by people with regular income who need time to just catch up. Maybe they were off work for 6 months. Okay, they're back in the groove again. Maybe they lost their mom or dad. Maybe they lost a child. Lord have mercy. Or a spouse. Whatever the case is, you getting back into the game and you have regular income and you need time to catch up. That's okay. Especially if you're trying to save a house that you purchased, okay? A vehicle or any other important property. You will want to file 13, okay? Neither one is automatically better. The right chapter depends on the person's income, your assets, your debts, your goals, and legal pressure. And legal pressure, boy, when it hits, y'all already know it comes from all kind of ways, okay? We talked about your checks being garnished. We talked about people just bombarding you with collection agencies just bombarding you at work. Got the nerve to call you at work sometimes, and they're sending text messages, Jesus, and emails now, okay? So, again, the right chapter depends on the person's income, assets, debts, goals, and legal pressure. Now, part 5, here we go. Chapter 7, bankruptcy. We call this the fresh start bankruptcy. Okay? Y'all can type that in if you want to. And also, please don't forget to tell me where you are. Again, Chapter 7, bankruptcy, the fresh start bankruptcy. Chapter 7 is also often called the fresh start bankruptcy. And it's also sometimes called liquidation bankruptcy. Okay? Now, the word liquidation, I notice this. It does scare people sometimes. People hear liquidation and they think, oh, Lord, they're going to come take everything I own. That ain't necessarily true, okay? That's not necessarily true. In Chapter 7, a bankruptcy trustee, what they do is they review your income, they review your debt, they review your assets, and they review your property. Now, the trustee itself looks to see if there are any non-exempt assets that could potentially be sold to pay creditors, okay? I'll say that again. The trustee looks at to see if there are any non-exempt assets that could potentially be sold to pay creditors. We're talking about Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Now, let me break that down a little bit. An asset, of course, is something you own. This is my phone case. It ain't no great asset, but I own it, okay? All right. So an exempt asset is property that is protected by the law. And a non-exempt asset is property that is not protected or not fully protected and may possibly be sold by the trustee to pay creditors, okay? All right? There you go, okay? In plain English, basically, exempt means protected. Non-exempt means not protected. All right, another example. For example, bankruptcy exemption laws may protect basic household goods, clothing, certain personal items, retirement accounts, some vehicle equity, and sometimes certain home equity, depending on that particular state's law. Okay? But if someone owns expensive property, okay, like a paid off luxury vehicle, some land, or a boat, valuable jewelry, or extra assets that are not protected, that could be a different situation. All right, follow me. That is why you cannot compare your situation to anybody else. That's why I say quit watching so many TikTok and YouTube videos and Facebook unless they really putting it down. I mean, they really know what they're talking about. But if you keep hearing the same thing over and over and over, pay attention to that, okay? Everybody's profile, again, credit profile is different. Excuse me. One person may file Chapter 7 and keep their property. Yay! Okay? Another person may have a lot of assets that's at risk. So the details actually matter. Now we're going into part 6. We're almost done tonight. All right? And we're going to do part 2 next week. All right. Many Chapter 7 cases are called no asset cases. That does not mean the person owns absolutely nothing. Okay? It just means that there may be nothing available for the trustee to sell after the exemptions, liens, and practical value are considered. All right. Again, I'm going to give you another example. I love breaking stuff down. All right. I do the same thing with the Word of God. Y'all know the ones that watch me, that's what I do. All right. For example, someone may own clothes, furniture, maybe a older vehicle, like I said, basic household items, you know, maybe a couch or something or a microwave, I don't know. Personal belongings, okay? Just like I showed you this phone case, all right? But those things may be either protected by exemptions or not valuable enough to sell to creditors. Trust me, this ain't valuable enough to sell to nobody unless you're just desperate. You can just have it, okay? All right. So when people say Chapter 7 means take everything, that's not always true. The better statement is to say it like this, y'all. In Chapter 7, I'm going to cap it up, okay? The trustee looks for non-exempt value that can be used to pay creditors. If there's no exempt value, the case may be a no asset case. That's why knowing your property value, your loan balances, and exemptions is so important. It's so important, all right? Now, what Chapter 7 is usually designed for, all right? We're moving to another section. Chapter 7 is generally for people who cannot realistically, I'm going to say it again, pay their unsecured debts. Unsecured debts are debts that are not tied to collateral. I'll say that again. Chapter 7 in general is for people who cannot realistically pay their unsecured debts. Unsecured debts are debts that are not tied to collateral. Examples may include credit cards, okay? Medical bills, all right? Personal loans. I'm going to go back to medical bills in a minute. Old utility balances, collection accounts, certain judgments, certain payday loans, some payday loans, certain repossession balances, all right? Now, let me back up a little bit to medical bills. You understand that I've been talking about the tables. Should I file? Should I not? Should I fix my credit? Should I file for bankruptcy? Should I not fix my credit? That's what the thing is going back and forth. One thing I got to let you know about medical bills. They did pass a law to where they're not supposed to show or report medical bills to your credit report if the medical bill is under $500. Some people still do, but if it's the case, they're breaking the law. You can fight that, okay? So if you got really small medical bills reporting, you can get those off. 9 times out of 10, you can get those off. All righty? I just wanted to get that sidebar. I got to stay on track, though. All right? All right. So Chapter 7 for some of you or some of your loved ones, you may not be you watching. You may be watching for somebody else. I appreciate y'all hanging in there with me. It may be worth exploring. I'm going to say it again. Chapter 7 bankruptcy filing may be worth exploring when someone has debt that they simply cannot pay back in a realistic time. All right? I'm going to break it down some more because y'all know that's what I do. All right, I'm going to break it down some more. For example, let's try this example. Someone has $35,000 in credit card debt. I've seen it. Yes, they do. I've been in the game for 10 years, all right? They do say they have $12,000 in medical bills, $35,000 in credit card debt. They got a few assets. They have limited income. Maybe the income is only $2,000 a month. They have no realistic way to pay debt. Don't matter what happens. Stuff happens. Life just be lifing, right? Okay? That person may at least need to discuss Chapter 7 with a bankruptcy attorney. But check this out. If someone has $2,000, $3,000, or $5,000 in credit card debt, I said that earlier, and can realistically pay it, settle it, or rebuild, then Chapter 7 may be too big of a tool for that size of a problem. Are you following me? Maybe too much. You might not want to go there. That's why we don't panic, y'all. We stay cool here with the credit coach lady of the North and the South. Stay cool, okay? We write down the numbers is what we do. We don't panic, all right? Now, let's go deeper. What actually happens in Chapter 7 bankruptcy? A typical Chapter 7 bankruptcy case may include these steps. Excuse me. First, the person completes required credit counseling before filing. You can't just jump up and say, well, that's it. I'm going to file. I'm sick of my life and I'm sick of my credit profile and all this. You can't do that, honey. It's a process. You're going to have to go through a counseling, some type of counseling before filing. All right. All right. Then the person files a bankruptcy petition with the court. That's why I say you got to use an attorney. All right. The individual discloses income. They're going to know all your income, your expenses, your debts, all your assets, your property, your creditors, and financial information. Once the case is filed, the automatic stay may stop or pause many collection actions. Actually, when you file, they may stop the collection agencies from pursuing to collect debt from you, okay? That may actually stop, all right? So a trustee is assigned to the case, and the person attends a meeting of creditors, sometimes called a 3-4-1 meeting, all right? Next, the trustees themselves review the case. The trustee reviews the case. The trustee, the person, determines whether there are any non-exempt assets, all righty? If the case is successful, then eligible debts may be discharged. A discharge, again, means the person is no longer legally required to pay the debts that were discharged. Ain't that like Jesus? Jesus paid sin debt and the charges were dropped. All right. All right. I don't want to get there tonight. That's the fresh start part. Y'all see what I'm saying? It's like you never had debt. Chapter 7, just wipe it out. Okay? The debts are discharged. But again, in this case, sometimes not every debt is dischargeable. Is that a word? Not every debt is dischargeable. Not every situation is that simple. But I had to give y'all the simple situation. All right. Not every debt is dischargeable, and not every situation is simple. So again, legal advice matters. All right. All right. Now, the automatic stay in plain language. Let me go back up to that again. Let's talk about that automatic stay when I said sometimes you can stop, debt collectors from collecting from you. When a bankruptcy case is filed, the automatic stay may stop or pause many collection actions. All right. That particular case may include, again, collection calls. I know they get on your nerves. I told my kids when we were going through years ago, thank God they all grown. When a collector calls, just talk about something totally different that will get on their nerves, or just act like you can't hear them, or whatever the case may be, or just start talking about something else, okay? So you get tired of them calls. But when a case is filed, that may include collection calls. I'm talking about the stay. The actual stay may stop or pause many collection actions. That includes collection calls, collection letters, many lawsuits, many wage garnishments, okay? Some, I love this part for people that need Chapter 7, I love it. Some foreclosure activity, some creditor actions, some repossession activities. That means if you're in the middle of a repossession, it may stop it. Okay? The automatic stay is powerful, but it's not limited. There are exceptions, all right? Some actions may continue. Some creditors may ask the bankruptcy court for permission to keep going, which is asinine, but that's how they care, because I told y'all the name of the game is get that bag. They don't care nothing about you. And if someone has filed bankruptcy before, the automatic stay rules may be different. I've had clients like that, okay? So do not assume anything. Don't guess, y'all. Do not get legal advice from a comment section. Don't get legal advice from TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, nothing. Maybe LinkedIn if it's an attorney, maybe, all right? Because if you're facing a lawsuit, a garnishment, a repossession, a foreclosure, please, honey, talk to a bankruptcy attorney immediately, as soon as you can, because timing matters, all right? Now, Chapter 7 in cars. I know people ask me about that a lot. Chapter 7 in cars. That's one of the biggest questions. Chapter 7 in cars. Melody, Mel, will I lose my car? Can I still keep making payments? What if I owe more than what the car is worth? That's called negative equity. What if the car is not running, Mel? What if I have 2 vehicles? Oh my God, what am I going to do? The answer depends on several things. And these are real questions, y'all. These are real questions. All right? The answer depends on several things. Is it paid off or is it financed? How much is the car worth? How much do you owe? Is there any equity? Is the equity protected by your state exemption? I work with all 50 states in the United States of America, and I have a lot of people I deal with in Florida or have in the past, Florida and Ohio, okay? Are you on current payments? Are you currently on payments? Can you afford to keep paying at the bankruptcy? Equity means the difference between what the vehicle is worth and what is owed on it, okay? Now let's break that down. Let me give you an example of equity. If a car is worth $15,000 and you owe $10,000, there's $5,000 in equity, okay? If the car is worth $7,000 and you owe $9,000, there may be no equity. There's negative equity, most likely. If there is no equity, the trustee may not have value to sell for creditors. But don't assume anything. The trustee is going to look at the actual value of the car. The trustee is going to look at the payoff amount. The trustee going to look at everything and the facts of the case. So my teaching point is tonight, do not assume that you're going to lose your car. Do not assume either that you're going to automatically keep it, okay? Find out the value, the loan payoff, and what your state law protects, because all state laws are different, okay? We're almost done. When Chapter 7 may make sense. Chapter 7 may be worth discussing with the bankruptcy attorney if most of your debt is unsecured. You cannot realistically repay. I'm repeating myself. What you owe. You are being sued. Jesus, by all means, talk to a bankruptcy attorney. All right. You have judgments. Your wages are being garnished. You will have overwhelming medical bills. You have old credit cards or collections that doggone it just won't go away. You have limited assets. You do not have enough income to support a repayment plan. You need debt relief more than a debt repayment plan. That's when you need to probably file for Chapter 7. Okay? Chapter 7 may make sense when the main issue is debt that cannot be realistically paid. So if you don't leave here tonight off of this class, remember that Chapter 7 bankruptcy filing makes sense when the main issue is debt that cannot realistically be repaid. But Chapter 7 may not be best if your income is too high to qualify. You have valuable non-exempt assets like that luxury car. Your income is too high. I said that already. You're trying to save your house. You don't want to lose your house. You're behind on a car and need time to catch up. Most of your debt cannot be discharged. Maybe you recently transferred property. You just recently ran up debt. You can reasonably repay, settle, or rebuild without filing. That is why Chapter 7 is not just a credit decision. It's a legal decision, okay? All right? So remember that. That was Chapter 7 tonight. I don't want to go on chapter 13 yet, but I hope that has helped you. And one thing I want to say, I'm going to be doing live shows in hopefully one of your cities. I'll definitely be in the city of Toledo. I'll be in some outskirts of Toledo. And also for people that live in Florida, I'll be in Orlando, Tampa, the greater Tampa Bay area, the greater Orlando area, because I need to talk to some people one-on-one. And again, if you want to book with me one-on-one, book with me for free. We can talk about 15 minutes. I'm willing to answer anything, because this is one of my ministries. I got to help people. I got to help my people, because a better credit is going to produce a better community. Okay. Even with churches, with pastors, if your people are struggling with credit issues, let me come talk to them. I'm not going to charge y'all nothing. For real, this is what I do. I make my money elsewise if somebody hires me or whatever. But I want y'all to call me. I'm going to put some information within the next 20 minutes in the comment section, okay? Because I'm filming with 2 different cameras. That's why I'm looking up back and forth, all right? I want y'all to call me. Talk to me. I'm easy to talk to. Talk to me about your situation. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to help. And I can give you some serious, solid credit advice, okay? Legal stuff, you got to talk to an attorney. But I can give you some solid advice. And I have what I call a credit audit. I need to give y'all some screenshots. I'm going to probably show you too what I do in an audit. My most recent audit was maybe 11 pages. I actually go in and I break down your credit report down to the nitty gritty, like the old people used to say. Right down, all the way down, and I tell you what's wrong with it, what's missing, what you need to pay, what you don't need to pay, what you need to straighten out. Is this real? Is this not real? What can you do in this situation? I give you a legal strategic plan on how to bring everything into the correct type of snapshot, the correct profile, so you can get what you want, okay? And that's only $99. I'm gonna show y'all, like I said, I'm gonna upload some examples so you'll see what I'm saying. I don't play around. This is not a fluff thing. I'm not in it just to make money. I've been doing it for 10 years, okay? This is something I care about, and I care about people. I care about God's people. So you could do that. And I'm also gonna put my store in the bottom of the comments, because I do have items that are free. You don't have to buy a book if you don't want to. Get my eviction ebook, okay? That's coming out soon. But get the one that we're talking about tonight. Bankruptcy. Should I file or not? I'm breaking down chapter 7 and chapter 13 bankruptcy in there. And you could get that free guide tonight, okay? There's things that you could get that I provide free. So whatever y'all do, keep the faith. Hold your head up high. You are not a failure. You can do this. You can get through this chapter of your life. Trouble does not last always. There is a brighter day. And I tell y'all all the time, always dream big. I don't care where you come from. I don't care what your background is. I don't care who raised you. I don't care how much income you have. You can have solid credit. In a lot of cases, honey, money don't mean nothing. Credit does. So get your credit straight. I got to go. I've been on here long enough. I'll talk to y'all later. Thank y'all for hanging in there with me. To everybody, I can't see your names tonight. I love you. I appreciate you. This is Mel, the credit coach lady, the credit coach queen of the North and the South, honey, signing off. Always dream big. Have a good night, y'all.